Hey, welcome back, everybody. Of course, you know me. My name is Dr. Keith McNally. This is Coach's Corner. And if this face is familiar, Shirley Billigmeyer, it's because she was on the Question Guy podcast. And we dove deep into her backstory. But now we're going to talk about how she really does help people understand their gut brain. And so, first, we have to go back and tease what the gut brain is. And then we're going to dive into, Shirley, how you actually help people resolve their eating dilemma. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks so much, Keith. Yes, the gut brain is what you feel inside. You just had a feeling, but also what's really key is hunger is within the gut brain. So I can use the act of eating and when you're hungry, because like we talked before, that's the original boundary of your body, the start of eating, which is hunger, which is also located in the gut brain. So I teach people how to re-access and surface their original boundaries. And I do it with hunger. So when I start people, some of them just don't even have a clue what hunger feels like because, like I said before, we're taught to bury it. And I'm here trying to surface it. And when I start with people, it's a gradual process. And I'll take you through a person that I started with. She had just had her second child, and she just was so frustrated with losing weight. And she heard me and she thought, you know what, I need to do this. So we started with the understanding of the gut brain and a hunger scale. So she could have an idea what that hunger felt like. And I would start with a scale from like 0 to 10, 0 being starved, 10 being stuffed, 5 the feeling of nothingness. If all your audience would put their mind in their stomach right now and feel what number they would be at. Would you be at a 0, starving? Would you be at a 5, the feeling of nothingness, hunger has been taken care of? Or would you be at a 10, stuffed? Now I'll ask you, Keith, what number would you be at right now?
So, to put everything in perspective, for me, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the time of this recording. So, that actually plays a significant part of my response. And so, let's talk about this. Up at 2:40 in the morning, 2 a. That's really dark in the morning because I'm out the door by 3:30 to go on a 12-mile hike. I'm training for the Appalachian Trail through hike. So my first meal is at 3 a.m. I'm coming back after all of that. My second meal is probably 9:30-ish. My third meal is about 1:30, 2 o'clock. So I just had like kind of a midday snack, people would call it, which for me included some cookies because I said I was allowed some sweets. I think I said that in the first time. So but my body is still a little bit hungry. So I would put it on, like you said, 0 is starving and 10 is full. I put it on a 6 to 7 scale, maybe.
Okay, if you're a little bit hungry, I'd move it down because 5 is a feeling of nothingness. 4 is a little bit hungry.
Okay.
So
So
would
let's
you
put
say,
it to the 4 end.
yeah, so you would be at a 4.
Okay.
Now, I hadn't really talked about the hunger scale to you, but you knew it. We all know it. As long as we know what those numbers mean, you put your mind in your stomach, every one of us can really figure it out. So then, when you're not hungry, I start people with that. What is that feeling? What is that angst, that strong desire to eat when you know you're not hungry and you know it's not time to eat? That strong feeling, the desire to eat thought, as I call it, the I want to eat, has a ton of information. And each person really knows how and why that's there. I just unravel it for them. So when I start working with people, I'm with them basically every moment. It's a 3-month course, but anytime they need to text me or call me or email me, it's really key that I talk to them as close to that desire to eat thought as I can possibly get to, because there was a feeling in your gut that went to, oh, I need to change this feeling, and it went to the desire to eat thought. So I need to unravel, go back to that gut feel, and say, what were you feeling? So you can see why it's important that I work really closely with my clients so that we can catch those moments, because once you have the desire to eat thought, guess how easy it is to just go to the refrigerator. And a lot of people will say to me, yes, I would be sitting on the couch not wanting to move, and all of a sudden that desire to eat thought came up. I thought about what was in the refrigerator. I could climb 2 flights of stairs. So that desire to eat thought is what I'm constantly working with to dissipate it, because it's not natural. It's out of order. I call it eating out of order. When we have that desire to eat thought, when we know we're not hungry. So many times I break that apart and I will say, okay, what was your thought? And when I was working with this one individual, she said, I was just frustrated about my day. I said, yes, discomfort in the day. And you're not sure how to pass by that discomfort without eating. That discomfort was meant to be there to tell you some information. What are you uncomfortable about? Maybe there's nothing you can do about it. Why do you think we have 4 other pleasure senses? To soften. When we know we're not hungry, we know there's nothing we can do about it in the moment. Why do you think we have that desire to eat that? Because we want to soften that feeling. We want to change that discomfort. And so what we were meant to do with eating in order, we were meant to move over and use any one of the other 4 pleasure senses. And instead of robbing taste when we weren't hungry, taste has a very specific boundary. And in that taste, we were not meant to use it when we weren't hungry. That's eating out of order. So I keep clipping out all those times when you would eat when you know you're not hungry. But it's a process, because you need to also change your thinking, because now we are using your own thoughts instead of food to get you past that moment. It's a moment to moment process.
Well, now I'm curious because, we have the five senses and taste is one of the five. And so, do you help people like re-strategize, for lack of a better word, how to incorporate those other four senses to kind of say, it's not really that you want to eat, you just want to alleviate the discomfort. Does that kind of work in your program?
Yes. And what you're saying is, why we first have to understand the purpose. Why do we even want to eat?
Mm,
We either want to change a feeling, we want to jumpstart an action, or we need more pleasure in our life. It's going to be one of those three, because that's what eating does. Chewing is action,
mhm,
taste is pleasurable, and when we're not hungry, we're either looking for more pleasure or there's a discomfort in our gut and we want to change that feeling of the discomfort. So once we understand the why, then the next step, what I do, I call them pleasurable thoughts or pleasurable actions. Because when you are in the middle of that desire to eat thought, that thought is overruling your own thoughts because you've
mm,
used eating instead of your own thoughts. So it becomes more powerful than your own thoughts. So what I have people do is write down pleasurable actions, pleasurable thoughts that will get them past that moment. But it needs to be written down on a piece of paper that you can see clearly in order to be able to pull you out of that feeling. Because that feeling, and everybody knows that desire to eat thought is very, very strong. Then when you have that feeling, pick up that paper and think, okay, does this thought work? Okay, one of the thoughts might be, and I call them thought interrupters. I can have what I want when I'm hungry. Now, if eating didn't exist, what would I do? Those are 2 strong thought reminders to get you past that moment, to allow your creative mind to surface. Or there might be action steps. There may be physical action steps, and there may be thought reminders. A physical action step may be go for a walk. That's a repetitive action that you know how to do. What do you
mm.
think eating is? A repetitive action that you know how to do. But you absolutely need that paper. And then when you get to that point and you use one of those thought reminders or one of those pleasurable actions and it works, you keep that one on the list. You might try another one and it just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't work. You might think, oh, I'll go for a walk, but when you get there, you never do. So we've got to add something more. Maybe it is just grab a book and read something, but it's going to be very specific to what actually works for you to be able to get through that moment in time, because it's a moment. And once you can get past that moment in time and move on, that's when you'll start using your own thoughts and actions instead of food. And then eventually you don't want to use taste because it is out of order. You want to know and you become curious, what's the message?
So can we use me as a guinea pig? You said
Sure.
I got a
I love
pen, I got a
you as a
paper.
guinea pig.
So you said I need to write down pleasurable thoughts? Is that
Mhm.
okay?
Thought interrupters,
Thought interrupters.
thought interrupters, or pleasurable action. Thought reminders, thought interrupters, or pleasurable actions.
So what do I write down first?
Okay, what do you think would, when you have that desire to eat, what do you think would move you? Like what action step do you think you would be drawn to instead of eat?
Well, I know when because I sit here because I got two I got two computers going for work. Um, so I sometimes find myself just getting bored with just sitting here. I want to get up and at least walk around,
So yours is
because
walking.
I
Yours is
got,
walking.
yeah, even if it's just to walk downstairs
Yes.
and clear my head, because sitting at this space for 8 hours a day plus some gets kind of tedious.
Yes. So I can see that your feet moving replaces chewing.
Okay.
Your feet moving replaces chewing. Now, what would be a thought reminder, do you think? Let's say that you can't leave your desk. What would be a thought reminder to get you past when you're thinking, oh, gee, I just want to eat something. I just want to eat something.
Well, I'm guessing social media is not going to be a good thing because that's kind of addictive. I just need to get my brain kind of refocused again, because I could have many things going on at one time, and that can be overwhelming and sometimes stressful. And I don't like the way that feels. So I guess for me is um, would playing a song on YouTube be okay? Like just kind of re-navigate?
Exactly. Something that uses one of your other pleasure senses, which is listening. That's
Mhm.
listening. That's more of an action. The thought might be, I need to listen because you said retrain your brain. There's got to be a very specific thought in there that changes it. It can't be general. It's like, okay, I just need to retrain it. I just need to
Okay.
do something else. It's okay, what's the thought? I will enjoy listening to music in this moment. So it's very specific because when you take something out, and trust me, that desire to eat and that eating has a very strong force because it became more powerful than your own thoughts and actions
Yeah.
because you used it when you were meant to be using it for your thoughts or for your actions.
So let me ask you, you literally said handwrite it. So what's the value of handwriting these ideas, these thoughts, and these actions? Why can't I just think about that now? Because now you've really got me curious.
Because that hand with that pen to the paper
Mm,
connects you to your gut. It's why everybody talks about how important journaling is to get your feelings out. Where
mm,
those feelings, they are housed in your gut brain. I've
mm.
had many people say, well, can't I just use an app? I'll check on an app. And I said, no, no, I need that pen to paper. And there's all kinds of studies too that you remember more when you actually use the pen to the paper. So this process really enforces that connection from your hand to the paper, which connects you to your gut.
Well, I appreciate that because I am somebody who does journal and I probably have one too many, but I think you said something important and you just kind of highlighted it. Can we go in a bit deeper? There's an element of being grateful or there's an element of gratitude here. Yes?
Yes,
Can
yes.
you talk about that?
Yes, exactly. It's a little different because I'm always very truth and reality based.
Okay.
Not, I'm very different than affirmations because there
Right.
might be a belief in there that says, let's say, I don't have the right to do what I want to do. I need to get in there and see if the belief is in there that's a non-value based belief. This is all based in truth and reality. So I would ask you, do you have the right to feel good?
That's a unique question. Wouldn't somebody just say yes as a knee-jerk reaction?
You would say yes as a knee-jerk reaction, but then when you write down what you are grateful for and you're feeling unpleasant, because a lot of times people will use when they're really upset about something or they think they can't have something, they say, well, first, let's figure out, do we have something that we really enjoy first? Let's see if we can get that grounding of the pleasant base within our gut. Can we really get that grounded, that really good value-based feel?
Mm.
So their initial reaction may be, oh yes, of course I want to feel good. And then they come to that moment in time. This is the beauty of the process. The moment in time where you're really feeling uncomfortable. Can you access what you are grateful for? And this is another thing that I have people do, write down what they are grateful for. And when they get to the point of discomfort,
Mm.
and they look at that list, can it change that feeling? Can it really change that feeling? If not, then I need to go a little deeper to see if there's a belief in there that's interfering with that statement. And that's the depth of that discomfort, because we will always know if it works, because the discomfort in your gut, if there's a non-value-based belief that we're trying to offset with a thought, it won't last. We won't be able to get there. You won't be able to feel that deep level of calm, of gratitude, of no pain. That's what the depth of the process does.
Oh, I like that. Now, you have used the word discomfort a lot in this conversation specifically as you as a coach. And so discomfort causes people to feel unhappy. How much of your work is affective at the emotional level with people? Because you just said you want to deal with truth and fact.
Mhm.
How about emotion? What does that got to do with any of this?
It in your gut brain. Of course, we deal with emotion. And if and I never know what they use eating out of order for? Do they use it to jumpstart their action? Is it about movement? Is it about the right to move forward? Is it that you constantly change the feeling, or you simply need more pleasure in your life?
Mm.
That second one I said, feeling, emotions. That feeling is within your gut brain. And if you've covered it over with food, we take the food out of there, that feeling is going to surface. Now we really get to deal with it. And I start with the term discomfort. I want them to feel the discomfort. Eventually that turns into messages. There's just messages coming from your body telling you something. Either it's an unpleasant feeling that you haven't done anything about yet. It's an unpleasant feeling that you don't know how to move forward yet. It's an unpleasant feeling. But like I said, we start with that feeling because that's people don't like to, so like who wants to feel discomfort? Everybody's bearing it. They're bearing it with drugs, they're bearing it with everything.
Mhm.
I want people to feel the discomfort because eventually, as they work through my process, it becomes a message. It's no longer discomfort, it's a message. And then the curiosity surfaces, and then they learn how to turn that around. And then guess what? The joy is there because they're learning how to move an uncomfortable feeling to comfortable. They're learning how to move a non-action feel to action, and they're learning to open up all of their other pleasure senses with their thoughts and their actions. And that's the joy of living life.
With the amount of time that we have left, give us a success story, and then I'm going to have you share a nugget of gold with our audience to kind of get them kickstarted today, and then have where can we find you on the web? So first, a story.
Okay, I had a story of a woman, and she is 69 years old. She tried everything, everything, and nothing worked. She was active when she was young, and we started her with understanding total choice. That's key for me because that also drops you in your gut brain. And what was so interesting, because she had a lot of thoughts and she couldn't figure out where those thoughts were coming from, just really painful thoughts and whatever. As we worked through the process, I said, those thoughts, once we turn around those non-value based beliefs in your gut brain, those thoughts are going away because those thoughts are coming from within you. And like I said to her, there's nobody else living in there that you know of, is there? And she said, no. I said, so those thoughts are coming from within you. And if they're unpleasant thoughts, they're generally coming from a non-value based belief. So when we figured that out, started turning those things around, she lost like 20, 25 pounds that she had worked for years to lose. But that wasn't even what was the greatest thing for her. What was the greatest thing for her was to surface that joyful feeling of being her. Just to say, she said, I just didn't understand how I could just be me and be joyful. But joyful wasn't always being happy. It was knowing that no matter how uncomfortable you were in a day, that was, she said, I became curious what that was, and I could always bring it back to balance. And I also learned how to let go what I couldn't do anything about. So it became a living process for her. But the greatest thing was the joy. That's what she loved. And the wonderful byproduct is she'd lost that weight that she'd been obsessing about for years and years and years, and she could just truly enjoy her grandchildren. So that was a fun story. That's the joy that I receive when I see their joy surface.
Then how about giving our audience a little nugget of gold to kind of kickstart a new way of thinking about their gut brain?
Ah, okay. Key is if they want to talk to me, they feel something like all of a sudden that, okay, this is starting to make sense to me. Just go into my website, energetics.com, and fill in the sheet. And before you even, talk to me, if you want to get like the recording card that I have for people and just start it, just try it, because I always want people to feel really comfortable before they start working with me. And what they can start with right away, like that little gold nugget, try to just sit before you eat. Never stand. Remove all the eating that you do when you're not sitting. Right there is all that eating is out of order, because we need to sit and truly enjoy the food that you decide to put in your body. And then when you're sitting, just imagine that hunger scale, 0 to 10, and wait till you're just a little bit hungry. Maybe it's a 4, maybe it's a 3. As people go through the process, they go down further, because obviously if you have storage, you need to be hungry a little bit. I mean, hunger is a good thing.
I love it. Where can we find you? What's your site again? Energetics?
Energetics is INNERGETICS, energetics.com. They can fill out a form. They can have a free 30-minute consultation with me. We can discuss things. If you're interested in starting just a little bit of it to see if it interests you, I can start with a recording card. I have a video. I'm a teacher at heart, so I really want people to get it. That's my true joy. So, but I want people to feel comfortable before they go for the full course.
Cool. Thank you so much, Shirley. It's a pleasure to have you on Coach's Corner. For those of you who've been watching and listening, I'll see you next time. Take care.